Stories have been told for thousands of years across continents, cultures, and coffee tables during lunchtime. They are how we shape our views, perceptions, and develop relationships. So, what is this personal brand concept that we've been hearing so much about over the last several years? And why is that important? And also, how do we build and develop one? I guess that's what we're here to find out. So, let's fire in. What is a personal brand? It may be best to start with what a personal brand isn't. It's not like your reputation. It's not first impressions that you make or the relationships that you form with friends, peers, and strangers, and how you communicate. All of these things impact how others see you. But personal branding, it's much more thought out. It's how you want people to see you. Whereas reputation is more about credibility, your personal brand is about visibility and the values that you outwardly represent. A Harvard Review article stated that personal branding is the intentional strategic practice in which you define and express your own value proposition. So, how do we create a personal brand? It mostly starts with what ultimately motivates you. What talents and skills do you have? What projects and subjects interest you the most? And what do the people you like and admire have in common? Probably best to write these things down, because as designers and marketers, we've got so many ideas, so many projects on the go, clients as well, that we'll forget. I know, I do it, you do it, we all do it. That's why we have an insane passion. I say passion, we hoard stationery, really. I have a bunch of pens, I have empty sketchbooks that I thought I might need, or I just kind of, every time I walk into a hobby or craft store or stationery store, I seem to just buy a notebook, a sketchbook, because I think it looks nice. Speaking of stationery and notebooks, I received this absolute abomination for my birthday. So a big shout out to my sister for making fun of my profession. But to be honest with you, great notebook, honestly. I'll probably use it at some point, but not anytime soon, because I want to vomit anytime I look at it.
Hey. Cool. Are you coming up?
What's also incredibly important to a personal brand is our story. Everyone's is unique and has different obstacles, conflicts, and achievements, which we can share to highlight our values, which gives us more depth than being seen purely as a business owner or a solopreneur. Berkeley themselves describes personal branding as having 7 values, which are purpose, value, clarity, strengths, energy, legacy, and ownership. Which I feel like when you do break all of those down, you're able to create a really, really strong strategy for who you are as a professional in the world of, take myself for example, the world of graphic design. We need to make sure that the stories that we tell and the values that we share are also easy to remember and understand, and also there needs to be a retellability to the story. Some really long-winded half-an-hour story, no one's really going to remember that. If you have, some like bite-sized pieces of a story, or some really short story that you learned an incredibly valuable lesson out of, that can be something that people relate to, that can be incredibly valuable for people. Even Jeff Bezos himself said that your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Talking about successful entrepreneurs, Chris Do, host of the Futures YouTube channel and founder CEO of Blind Design Agency, has an exercise where he has people create a 2-word brand for themselves, which ultimately sums up who we are. As an example, Chris Do's 2-word brand is a loud introvert, which not only is ironic in itself, but it piques curiosity and gives us a need to find out more about him. A really good quote from him during an interview with Masters of Marketing is when he said, "The 2-word brand is a teaser trailer for the rest of your story." Using myself as an example for this, I'm incredibly motivated by learning more about the industry of design to better help clients reach their goals and to also create some really fun projects and designs for myself. My interests are also in typography, semiotics as well, which is basically how we as humans understand signs and symbols, and a language as well is something that really interests me, but more the design of language and how we communicate visually as human beings. Something also incredibly important about me that affects my daily life, both personally and professionally, is that as much as I love fonts, typography, typefaces, letter forms, I'm also dyslexic. Does this mean my dream of designing typefaces and letter forms is dead? No. It just means that I have a more difficult time reading. That in itself is a story for me about loving typography, but also having this crux, which is being dyslexic, which heavily affects written language and how I interpret and understand it. But it's a conflict and an obstacle that I am constantly battling with and constantly overcoming during my daily life. As much as I feel that my gift is being able to design some incredibly good identities for businesses, it comes with the curse of getting my letters mixed up so that the word public becomes the word public for me. Because for some reason my P's and B's and my D's and G's get mixed up all the time. So that the word and becomes the word ang, like Avatar, The Last Airbender, except there's no second A. If you are just starting out and building your own personal brand, I have some links to other videos and the interview as well that I mentioned with Christo and Masters of Marketing. I've linked that down in the description for you. I do recommend watching them because they'll give you a much more in-depth version of what I'm talking about right now to you, and it'll massively help. But to start, I'd say take note of the things that I've mentioned, what stories you can tell and lessons that you've learned that are relevant to what you're doing professionally and what you've learned over the years. Share these stories and what you are learning, and you will be on your way to creating a really strong personal brand for yourself. And more importantly, what purpose do you want it to send? But with that, sharing these stories and values, you'll be on your way to building a network and an audience that relates to you and the values that you have to share. Because during this, you'll not only pick up people that are in your industry, that you'll also pick up other people that are out with your industry that are interested in what you're doing. Because as business owners as well, it's really good to understand how different industries work, because in business, if you don't have much of an idea how design or how marketing works, you'll more than likely struggle a bit more than other businesses that are looking to outreach and learn from these other industries that can help level up each other, and they all work in tandem. So with that, I'll leave you there. Until next time, guys, good luck with your personal brands. I'll see you later.